Once upon a time, in a small village, there lived a mysterious woman named Liana. Liana was known for her uncanny ability to seduce men and have her way with them. But there was a catch. She could only satisfy her desires with a new man every day. People in the village often gossiped about her, but they couldn't help but be intrigued by her beauty and charm. Liana was aware of her reputation and didn't seem to care. In fact, she reveled in it, always dressed in seductive attire that accentuated her curves. One day, a handsome stranger named Adrian arrived in the village. He was tall, muscular, and had a charm that was irresistible to women. Upon hearing about Liana's daily conquests, he was intrigued and set out to meet her. As fate would have it, their paths crossed at the village well. Liana, with her long flowing hair and piercing green eyes, was a sight to behold. Adrian was smitten from the moment he laid eyes on her. "Hello, fair lady," Adrian said, his voice deep and resonating. "I've heard tales of your beauty and allure. I must say they do not do you justice." Liana smiled, amused by his forwardness. "Oh, you flatterer," she replied coyly. "But I must warn you, I have a condition. I can only be satisfied by a new man every day." Adrian raised an eyebrow, intrigued by her challenge. "Is that so? Well, I must say I'm up for the task, but I have a condition of my own." Liana laughed, excited by the prospect of a challenge. "And what would that be?" "I must satisfy you in a way that you've never experienced before," Adrian replied confidently. Liana considered his words for a moment before nodding in agreement. "Very well, Mr. Adrian, I accept your terms. Tonight we shall see if you have what it takes to satisfy my desires." As the sun dipped below the horizon, Adrian arrived at Liana's doorstep. He was greeted by the scent of jasmine and the soft glow of candlelight. Liana, dressed in a silk robe, welcomed him with a sultry smile. Adrian took her hand, leading her to a chair in the center of the room. He instructed her to sit, and Liana, intrigued by his dominance, complied. He began to undress her, his fingers lingering on her skin as he revealed each inch of her body. Adrian then proceeded to perform a sensual dance for Liana, his movements fluid and rhythmic. He danced around her, teasing her with his proximity, until she was trembling with anticipation. Finally, he joined her on the chair, their bodies pressed close together. He whispered sweet nothings into her ear, his breath hot against her skin. His hands explored her body, expertly bringing her to a state of ecstasy. Liana had never experienced such pleasure, and as the night wore on, she found herself falling for Adrian. But she knew that their night together could only last for so long. As the first light of dawn crept through the curtains, Adrian held Liana in his arms, both of them exhausted but satisfied. He whispered into her ear, "You've captivated me, Liana. I don't want this night to end." Liana smiled, touched by his words. "But Adrian, my condition, I must have a new man every day." Adrian nodded, understanding her predicament. "I have an idea. Let's make a pact. For the next 30 days, I will bring a different man to you every night. But on the 31st night, I will return, and you must choose between me and your desire for a new man." Liana hesitated, unsure if she could trust Adrian's plan. But the next passion she felt for him convinced her to give it a try. She agreed to Adrian's proposal, and they sealed their pact with a kiss. For the next 30 days, Adrian brought a different man to Liana every night. Each man was more handsome and charming than the last, and Liana found herself enjoying their company. But as the nights passed, she couldn't help but think of Adrian and the passion they had shared. As the 31st night approached, Liana found herself nervous and excited. She dressed in her most alluring attire, waiting for Adrian to arrive. When he finally appeared at her door, her heart raced. Adrian took her hand, leading her to a candlelit room. The atmosphere was filled with anticipation, and Liana couldn't help but wonder what would happen next. As they sat together, Adrian spoke softly. Liana, over the past month, I've introduced you to many men, each more charming than the last. But now, it's time for you to make a choice. Liana looked into Adrian's eyes, her heart pounding in her chest. I choose you, Adrian. I've come to love you, and I don't want a new man every day. I want you. Adrian smiled, relieved and happy. Thank you, Liana. I'm glad you've chosen me. But there's one more thing you should know. Liana furrowed her brow, curious about his revelation. What is it? Adrian took a deep breath before continuing. I'm not just any man, Liana. I'm a powerful sorcerer, and I used my magic to bring you the most desirable men in the world. I did this to prove to you that you could have any man you desired, but you chose me. Liana listened, astonished by Adrian's confession. Despite his magical abilities, she realized that she loved him for who he was, not for the men he had brought to her. As they embraced, Adrian whispered into Liana's ear, "From now on, I will be the only man you'll ever need, and from now on, every night will be a new adventure, filled with love and passion." Liana smiled, knowing that she had made the right choice. And so, Adrian and Liana embarked on a journey filled with love, passion, and magical adventures, proving that sometimes the most unlikely of relationships can lead to a happily ever after.
Please subscribe to my channel Lessons of Life and press the bell notification icon.